Hello there, and welcome back to episode number 89 of Inside the Vault, a Carolina Panthers podcast. I am your host, Ryan Smith, and tonight with me to prepare for Jets Panthers on Sunday up in the Meadowlands, we've got former NFL player, former Jet, Marvin Powell the third. Jets fandom, you know him. Marvin, how's it going, buddy?
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, my dad played 9 years for the New York Jets. Had a phenomenal career with them. I was fortunate in 1999 to sign as an undrafted free agent with Mike Ditka in the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
That was his last season. If you recall, they had traded the entire draft for Ricky Williams, brought in a bunch of free agents. I was one of the few to
Yes.
make the team. But yeah, I'm a diehard Jet. The Jets have been breaking my heart for 49 years. You know, and I'm fortunate to be the son of one of the best New York Jets ever.
Yeah, I should have cleared that. His dad, Marvin Powell Jr., a former Jet, Marvin Powell the third, who my guest tonight with me as well. Marvin, let's get into Panthers Jets on Sunday. Panthers going for 3 wins in a row for the first time as Bryce Young as quarterback at 3-3 overall, trying to get above 500. Jets just trying to get out of the cellar at 0-6 overall. But let's talk baby steps first. What is before we get into the preview game, things to watch, players and all that? What seems to be the problem, the issue with the New York Jets? I mean, I was in college, and I know this maybe ages me a little bit younger, but when Mark Sanchez, who we'll get to in a little bit, was doing his thing with the Jets and the AFC Championship games, Rex Ryan, all that. They have the longest streak of no playoffs in North American sports. So, what is wrong with the New York Jets? Not necessarily just this year. I just mean, just generally speaking, what's the deal?
I think, it's at the end of the day, it comes down to leadership. When you look at some of the best organizations in sports or just in business, period, it starts at the top.
Hmm.
That's what it is. And I hate to say that because at the end of the day, the owner of the team, Mr. Johnson, he hires a general manager. They hire a head coach. So they bring in these football personnel, people with high IQs, people with resumes. And I promise you, man, I feel like we had some splashes with Rex, obviously in the 80s, Ken O'Brien and that crew with my dad, they made a couple runs. But the reality is the Jets have not been to the Super Bowl since Joe Namath. I truly believe that we haven't established or maintained the culture that's required for winning. We had a little bit of that when we had Rex. We had some more of that when we had Todd Bowles for a bit. But we just haven't been able to maintain that championship spirit, which again, I do believe starts at the top. I think the owner has to have some kind of wherewithal regarding who you bring in here to lead your organization. And we haven't been able to bring them in and we haven't been able to keep them. With that said, the New York Jets, we haven't found that franchise quarterback. You had mentioned Mark Sanchez, who had taken us to back-to-back AFC championships, and that was great. And Ken O'Brien had a run, where, in his career in 10 years, he beat Dan Marino over 10 years more times than Dan Marino beat him. So the Jets have had moments, and when they had their QB, they made runs, but that's just two guys. Chad Pennington was a good player for us, but it never really happened. And we haven't got the quarterback right, like a New England who for 20 years was able to, stand on Tom Brady's shoulders. We haven't found that guy who's a difference maker at that position. Even now, as we'll get into, we have some players. We do.
Oh yeah.
We're not as bad as the records, shows. But the one position where, again, we haven't got right, and this is, the guy we have now is $40 million in 2 years, 40 mil. Justin Fields, it's just not happening. It's not it, Ryan.
Yeah. Jets 0-6 for the third time in franchise history and are trying to avoid 1996 and 2020 squads, the only teams to drop their first 7 games. And then, like you mentioned, Justin Fields. It's funny, he has 2.5 seconds on average to throw. Only quarterbacks longer is Jalen Hurts. And somebody else, my notes, my screen just froze. But I mean, it's not like that he's getting protected. I think he just is holding the ball way too long in the pocket. And Breece Hall, we know what he can do. Garrett Wilson, it looks like it's not going to be available for this game, but Josh Reynolds, Alan Lazard, Tyler Johnson, Arian Smith, the other receivers on the roster. But I'm actually looking at Mason Taylor, who I think is going to be a key contributor for this game because the Panthers suck at covering the tight end. So I think Mason Taylor is going to be the guy for Justin Fields in this game, and then obviously Breece Hall running the rock. But let's get into kind of those key players to watch. And so I'll start with you on the Jets when they have the ball, Panthers on defense. Who are some of those Jet players to watch when they have the ball on offense?
Well, I'll tell you like this. The Jets have tried to be focused on a run heavy offense. That's really what we've tried to do, establish the run with Brees, and that young but talented offensive line that we have. But you touched on it earlier. The bigger issue for us as well, one of the many issues is in the NFL, the average quarterback gets the ball out in about 2.5 seconds, I think. Where our guys holding the ball for almost 4 seconds. And when seriously, when you watch the game and you see him have somewhat of a clean pocket, right? And so you're believing he has opportunity to get the ball out, which he does, but he's sitting there, he's holding it, he's double clutching, he's second guessing, he's getting off his first read too soon. He's not trusting the timing. I don't know, but for us, and with that, he's putting us in horrible third down situations, in which in the last game, I think we were like 2 for 15 on third down or something like that, 2 for 19. It was absolutely horrible. But for us, it really comes down to a run heavy offense. What we're going to have to do is really create plays where we can, timing plays where he can just get the ball out, 1, 2, 3, throw, just like that. Don't read it. I mean, it's just there. And the key guy is probably going to be Mason Taylor, our stud rookie tight end, who is a matchup problem for DBs and linebackers without question. Athletic, good hands, physical. He's the son of a player, which matters. Believe me, again, we talk about culture.
Yeah,
His
Jason
dad
Taylor.
taught him. Yeah, his dad taught him the culture of being a player and just the physicality and just the mindset. And you see that, in the kid. I see it. I was very excited when we got him. But, with Garrett Wilson out, I forgot, guys, we just brought somebody up from practice squad, former player that was with Joe Burrow in 2023, caught 25 passes that have come to me. But the reality is we don't have any difference makers on the outside. We
It's
don't.
Alan Lazard, Tyler Johnson, and Josh Reynolds.
Well, Josh is hurt. Josh is out. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he practiced today. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay, with that said, other than Garrett Wilson, we don't have a difference maker on the outside. We,
Yeah.
we, we don't. And you would have thought that with that young stud offensive line we have, along with Brees, along with our $40 million quarterback that we have in Garrett, that we could put something together. You have NFL teams who have much less than that, and they're not 0-6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously there's something going on there, but quick passing game, using that tight end much more than we have, getting him more targets, and then from there maybe incorporating the backs into the passing game a little bit. That's what we're going to probably have to do because we don't have any. We're the worst passing team in the NFL, and we don't have any hope. And a few games ago, you may have thought of trading for a player, but when you're 0-7, it's just what are you fighting for at this point? I hate to say that, but the reality is upstairs. I mean, they have to make a decision. Do we make a move and go for another receiver, or do we focus on draft capital and try to find our quarterback?
Yeah, for the Panthers on that side of the ball, it's going to be Derek Brown, big boy in the middle, who, if Jet fans are not familiar with, they will get familiar with pretty quickly. He is playing like a top 10 NFL player, like he is on defense. He had a triple team in the Dallas Cowboys game where he just basically got out of the triple team and made a 2 yard tackle for TFL. It just absolutely bananas how good Derek Brown's playing. He was out for the Panthers week one after last year tore his meniscus out for the year, and it just seems like they added a first round pick back because exactly what he was. He was number 8 overall pick 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and it's amazing what can do for your run defense when you have your best defender in there on the defensive line. Quentin Williams would be the equivalent for the Jets, obviously.
Right.
And then obviously also on the outside would be J.C. Horn, whoever he gets the assignment for. It sounds like he's gonna probably go up against Josh Reynolds most likely with Garrett Williams out or Garrett Wilson out rather.
I,
So
I played with JC's dad in New Orleans,
Joe
Joe.
Horn, yeah,
Great, listen, a character, great guy, phenomenal receiver. I was very happy to see his son get drafted and play so well and get a contract.
yeah.
Yeah.
JC is a great guy, and the Panthers are definitely enjoying having him.
Mhm.
So let's switch to the other side of the ball. When the Jets are on defense, Panthers are on offense. For me, it's pretty simple. Run the dang ball. Like that's it. Rico Dowdle, Juba Hubbard will be back this game. It sounds like they're going to be maybe not 50-50 split, but they're going to split some carries here in this game. Can this Jets defensive line stop the run consistently and then play action to Bryce Young, hitting weapons on the outside, Tedero Millen and company, Xavier Legette. And so can the Panthers run the football? Number one. Number two, can Bryce Young then take advantage and play as good on the road as he is at playing at home this year? Panthers are undefeated at home, 3-0, but we're on the road, and Panthers got to prove that they can win on the road, and even if it is against the Jets, it could be against anybody. Rather,
Right. Yeah.
they have to prove that they can win on the road. So those are the two things I think the Panthers' offense needs to prove when they're on that side of the ball.
Well, I'll tell you what, the reality is the Panthers offense is going to have a lot of opportunities to go out there and score points, to run that ball and control the clock because the Jets offense is that peach, is that horrible. It's that bad. It's literally the worst statistically. We have the worst passing game in the NFL. Our rushing yards per game isn't that bad. But again, we're not converting third downs. We're giving the other team more opportunities. Unfortunately, our defense, has not been great with the takeaways. So for you guys, I mean, the fact that your running back Rico is on this roll right now, perfect timing in playing the New York Jets. You guys will no seriously, you guys will. I mean, I suspect you're coming out there just doing your thing. For us, listen, Sauce had a good game against Cortland last week. We're out Quincy Williams, our linebacker's out. We have Quentin, obviously. Our defense is not horrible. But again, you can't keep them out there like that and put them in horrible situations. And then with the Jets as well, there were some miscues by our head coach and just in regards to how we use the clock and just, we again, it comes down to leadership for us. And I hate to say it, for as much as I have an issue with Woody Johnson, I was excited about the head coach hiring Aaron Glenn, a defensive guy, right?
Yeah,
But what do you see differently? I mean, Salah was what we let Salah go. Salah was okay on defense. The defense was all right, And we bring in AG after what he did in Detroit. You think he gets something similar, but then you realize, with AG in Detroit and these guys, I mean, the head coach in Detroit
Dan Campbell. Yeah,
started out, lost to his first 10 games of the season. And
correct.
that's what we're looking like. But I don't think we look as good as they did when they lost those 10 games. So defensively, I'm hoping that we can do something against that run and then capitalize with some type of offense. But this should be Rico's third game at over 150 yards.
Yeah,
Seriously.
something
Yeah.
like that. Well, like Chuba really is splitting with him in this game. He won't get that. He won't get, yeah, probably 150. Might max out at that. Um, yeah, but it's going to be interesting with Carolina because they're still inconsistent enough that I think the Panthers, a lot of people, including myself, we need to see it. The Panthers, no game is should win. They are as Panthers fans, we're used to that. The Panthers can and should win the game, but that doesn't mean they will. So, like, they've got to go out there and actually prove it. They got to do it. Especially Bryce Young is 1-15 on the road as the Panthers starting quarterback. 1-15. So
Yeah.
they have to prove that they can do it. Can they
Yeah.
grow up and do it?
And but listen, your team also is looking at a culture thing as well, trying to identify who they are and
Correct.
yeah. So you guys are kind of going through the same thing. The difference is you guys, you have your first round overall quarterback, who looks like he may have a future at this point. If I was a Panther fan, I would be optimistic about Bryce. You've seen growth. He's super talented, and with the right coaching, this sky's the limit. So for you guys have your quarterback in place. You guys have some young talent. That T-Mac, your receiver, really impressed with him out of Arizona. I thought he was really good in the Pac-12 last year, and very impressed with what you guys have been able to do with him. But yeah, I mean for the Jets, man, it comes out to leadership, and you don't want to see. This is Aaron Glenn's first year. You're already starting to hear it. The reality is, if this guy goes over, which is realistic, then the Jets again are just set back, not at the head coaching position, but also at quarterback as well. And The Jets are at the point where they're going to probably have to sell off everything, man. And I hate to say that because we have good players, and again, we felt like we were just one quarterback away. That's how we really felt, you know. But when you start out 0-7, it's just what's the best case scenario, even if we split the rest of the game. So Panther fans, should feel good about this game on Sunday. I'm waiting to see if Aaron Glenn's going to make a change at quarterback. Tyrod Taylor is a veteran, former Pro Bowl quarterback. This is a guy who understands the game and has had the reps. And when you look at what's happening across town in New York, you see a horrible New York Giant organization playing with their quarterback Russell Wilson, who throws for almost 500 yards against Dallas, and then they bench him to put in this rookie and the kid's balling. These New York Jet fans are seeing that, and it's just like, again, we felt like we were a quarterback away. We could talk about the Garrett being the only real weapon on the outside. We could talk about the fact that we don't have any turnovers on defense, just one. But the truth is, if we had a better quarterback in there, the Jets would probably be looking at 500 right now.
Steve Wilkes is that defensive coordinator there in New York. He has history here in Carolina under Ron Rivera when he was here back in the day, and then obviously 2022 when Matt Rhule was fired, Steve Wilkes was the interim head coach. Panthers won 6 of their last 7 games down the stretch, and it seemed like Steve Wilkes would have become our permanent head coach, and obviously that did not happen, as we all know. Had some stops in San Francisco, Arizona, briefly prior to that 2022 Panthers interim stint, and then obviously he just has been able to stick anywhere, and obviously now it's with the Jets. So I think Steve Wilkes is going to have something planned for the Panthers on Sunday. You can write your bottom dollar about that one. So we'll have to see what Steve has some exotic blitzes cooked up for Carolina. I know he's going to want to win this game pretty badly, not just for the Jets, obviously, but for himself. But what are your keys to the game here for just keys to victory? Let's just talk. Give me your 2 keys that you think can help the New York Jets get a win on Sunday.
Turnover. Again, I think right now we're at 1 turnover for the season, which is just horrible when you think about, a team like Jacksonville who's already at 14. So getting turnovers is going to be a big deal for us. And then, it's simple to say, but the reality is we have to get into better third down situations, which means we have to be effective running the ball, be smart running the ball. I think incorporating Justin Fields more into the run game would be beneficial. Typically, you don't want to get your quarterback hit, but we need yards and conversions. So turnovers, and then establishing a run game, which puts us in a better third down situation.
For the Panthers, I'm going to say I'll do one offense, one on defense. On offense, I think they need to establish the run and be able to get out to a fast start. That is my key for the Panthers. Can they continue to run the ball at the rate that they have been able to and just, like you said, play turnover free ball and just get out to a fast start and kind of put this Jets team behind the 8 ball. And then on defense, I'm looking for kind of the message the last few weeks. Panthers making the Jets one-dimensional, stopping the run, limiting Breece Hall's explosive abilities. We all know what he can do. And then that also discounts, not discounting Justin Fields as well, his running skills as well. I think you hit it on the head. I think the Panthers haven't faced a quarterback like that since Kyler Murray back in week 2. They allowed him to get away for a few scampers. So can the Panthers put the kibosh on the running game and force the Jets to be one-dimensional for most of the contest? So those are our keys to victory here. Jets versus Panthers on Sunday from the Meadowlands. Marvin Powell III, son of former Jet Marvin Powell Jr. here on Inside the Vault, episode 89, as we're previewing the game on Sunday afternoon. Marvin, let's get into some storylines kind of around the Jets and Panthers, not necessarily this game specifically. Mentioned Mark Sanchez. Let's go to him. We all know the situation that happened a little bit ago now with Sanchez there in Indianapolis. As a former Trojan and as a former Jet, what was your without getting too into the legality of things? What was your thoughts on the situation and kind of what that happened there?
Yeah, and you hit it on the head. Mark Sanchez is absolutely one of the great Trojan quarterbacks of our program. Was outstanding for us, leading us to many wins and a Rose Bowl win as well. And then as a New York Jet, took us to back-to-back championships. And then, and he's done a great job on TV, as an analyst. And it's really horrible to hear about, what happened out in Indianapolis. I first had read the headline, he got stabbed, and you didn't know kind of, was he a victim or something going on? But apparently, it's a situation where, I think he's going to probably have to show some level of accountability, and get some help. But listen, these things happen, man. It's unfortunate. He's a person like anyone else,
Yep.
and
Yep.
you hate to see that to anybody. You hate to, and I hate it for the other party involved as well. But it was a horrible story, and it's just one more thing that he'll get past and get through. There'll come a time when he's past this, and there are many other stories that hit the news cycle. But it was definitely it was a lot to take in, and as the story unfolded, and you're watching the videos, and it became kind of bizarre, to be honest with you. But it happens. These things happen. With cameras, nothing is safe. Everything's
Social
out there.
media era. That's right.
It's everywhere. Mark will be just fine, and he'll get through this process, I'm sure. But it was definitely bizarre and unfortunate.
With Aaron Glenn specifically, with the New York Jets in his first year, as you said, and you kind of talked about that Dan Campbell vibes with the 0-10 first year with Detroit. Talk about, as a former player in the league, your dad played, as we know as well, and you know obviously some players around the league. Are we giving, I'll just take Aaron Glenn specifically. He's in his first year as a new head coach. The roster, like you said, got some really good pieces on both sides of the ball. I don't know if they necessarily need to sell off all their parts, but do you feel like the league, and do you think like these owners given enough, will he get enough time to really turn this around is really the key question, because it almost seems like these owners expect coaches to make chicken salad out of you know what, and it's like it takes time. I mean, David Tepper here in Charlotte, the Panthers learned. He learned that this wasn't, the hedge fund. This is running an NFL team. This is much different. You can't just take a stock and dilute it, or you can do that to a stock. You can't do that to a football team. That's not the way it works. And so I think David Tepper learned, what he's finally doing after 6 years at the helm. He took a step back, let the football people do the football things, and he's obviously, the Panthers aren't like world beaters right now, but he's reaping the benefits of that right now. So what do you think is the key for Woody Johnson and that ownership group, and kind of Aaron Glenn long term, and what does success look like for him this season and going forward?
Listen, 0-6 is unacceptable because the New York Jets are a team that many pundits, experts, thought were a potential playoff team. Okay. And this
I
is in a
mean,
division.
Aaron Rodgers came there last year. He quarterbacked the New York Jets. He picked the New York Jets. It wasn't
Exactly.
just that they like, oh, let's trade for Aaron Rodgers. No, Aaron signed with the New York Jets, and so right, that's the thing that I think people don't understand. Like, he picked them, you
Hmm.
know, and
Yeah.
it just like, why didn't it work? I mean, we all know why it didn't work, but
Yeah, yeah, but then again, you see Aaron Rodgers out there balling right now. His team's in first place in their division.
yeah,
Listen, what's happening right now is unacceptable. 0-6, looking at 0-7 as we're underdogs at home, is just unacceptable for a team who is expected to potentially make a playoff run. Okay, and when you have to ask yourself, if they had different leadership on the sideline, would they be 0-6? I say no. But you could also say if they had a different quarterback, would they be 0-6? And I say no, we wouldn't be
no,
0-6. Listen, the NFL is not for long for whether you're a player or a coach. Woody Johnson is not expecting, he didn't go into this season expecting to be 0 for right now. And if we don't start getting some wins, it is realistic that you'll see AG out of there. I'm not saying that that's right, but I'll be honest. When I saw his press conference after the last game, and just looking at some of the in-game decisions, you hope that even though he's definitely learning on the job, because it's different being a DC, even if you're, at an elite company and you're able to be in those meetings with the head coach, it's different when you're running the show. And he's feeling that, and it's not looking good. And it is realistic that he could be out this year. It's realistic that he could be out, by early next season, but the clock is already ticking on him. In regards to selling off our pieces, we have to make a decision. And we have a lot of guys signed with big contracts, good players, all pro players. Right now, we're probably looking at Brees, is what I'm hearing from Shefty.
Yeah.
That Brees is the guy who's looking to possibly be out of there. And Brees himself is sending, social media posts that align.
Retweeting. Yeah.
Yeah, that align with that. So don't be surprised to see Brees out of here. For some kind of draft capital. I hate to say it because he's a young, good player, and he'll go somewhere else and be a 1,200-yard rusher. And it is what it is. But for the Jets, we have to figure out our leadership. That's ownership, but also on the sideline.
Do you and the last thing here as we get into our predictions here or for the game, do you, I don't I refuse to believe, like, I get it, like, you have to win a game to show progress. I get it, but I don't think it would be fair to fire a guy, less than a year on the job, or even after just 1 year, when he doesn't have exactly all the pieces to work with, especially on the quarterback position. But that,
I hear you. Listen, and trust me, they had this conversation when he was interviewed. He told Woody Johnson, listen, right now we're bringing in Justin. Justin's bounced around. If he doesn't work out, we need a plan B or an opportunity to try to go get a quarterback. They had that conversation,
yeah,
but even with that, Woody Johnson was not expecting to be 0-6.
right.
He just was not. I mean, and looking the way we did, he hired a defensive-minded head coach whose team had not had a turnover the first 5 games, where other teams were already in double digits. So, I mean, something's not right. And like I said, it's different being the defensive coordinator when you're the second tier coach versus the head coach versus the first tier, and you're running the show and everybody's under you. Steve Wilkes is an ex head coach. So without question, it gives Aaron an opportunity to give it to him and let him kind of handle the defense. But what's really happened with the defense? Our defense is the 20th ranked defense in the NFL based on yards per game,
Yeah.
points per game. I mean, we're just not that great, but we have good players. So with all this potential, Woody Johnson is expecting some kind of wins. It's just, right now it is a dumpster fire.
Let me hit on one other player. We mentioned Quinnen Williams earlier, but Sauce Gardner. I mean, he was an All-Pro player at the University of Cincinnati. Made it All-Pro his rookie year. Very, very good player. But it seems like the last year, and even a little to this year, I don't want to say he's been the refs are letting him get away with a little less this time. But it almost seems like he's a little more grabby than some other corners are, if that's a lack of a better term, because I didn't play football. But your
Right.
observations on Sauce Gardner this year and last year compared to his first couple of years in the league? I think there's been a slight drop off.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. We got him into that contract pretty early in his career. He came out the gate, big. It was a big name. He was part of I think we got drafted 4 guys that year in the first round. He was
Yep.
part of that, and he played well out the gate. He did. He made plays. Last season, he absolutely was called for more interference. Much more aggressive style of play. But that could be a lot of things. That could be, him just trying to go for the ball and be more aggressive. That could be him taking a step back and getting beat and trying to recover. It can be that. I can tell you right now, he's coming off a good game against Denver. Denver's a team who is doing well this year. Good young quarterback. Obviously, Champagne has him in the right direction. They've had some big wins this year, and the Jets were able to keep them under all their offensive averages. I mean, passing yards and rushing yards. The Jets D, I mean, again in that ugly, horrific game, kept them under. So. And Sauce was a part of that, So yeah, he's part of the solution if we're looking long term, but he also could be somebody who's on that block. I haven't heard that, but I can see it.
Okay. Let's get into predictions on Sunday. Panthers Jets 1 o'clock from the Meadowlands. Panthers looking to get to 4-3 on the season. Jets trying to win their first game of the season to get to 1-6. Um, I'll go first. I've got the Panthers winning this one, but it's a little closer than I think most people might suspect me saying. I think the Panthers aren't going to take the Jets lightly, and I don't think it's going to be an easy game at all. Because again, the Panthers have not exactly been world beaters the last few years, and late, I'd say even the last 7 years. And I think it's going to be slightly lower scoring because again, the Panthers just don't play very well on the road, and they have to show it and prove it to me in order for that to happen. So, give me the Panthers by a score of I'm going to say 24 to 14. That'll be my score prediction for Sunday. Do you have a score or just a bet? Anything that
Well,
you
this
want
is
to
this
do?
is how you should look at it. The Jets defense has given up 27 points a game for like the last 4 or 5 games. Okay, 27. All right. So just with that and the fact that you have a dynamic quarterback, up and coming receiver in T Mac, you have right now the running back of the year, and you got Hubbard coming back, and I think you have a tight end as well. Um, I'm going to go ahead and give you 30 points on the Jets. I'll give you 30 points on the Jets. I think that's realistic. And in regards to the Jets offense, who converted 2 third downs last week, who quarterback got sacked 9 times last week, I would look at the Jets at maybe 14, 30-14
Okay.
Panthers.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know it's one and a half point spread, but I mean,
I
I
was
don't know.
confused on that.
Yeah,
I'm not. I'm not an expert on spread, so I won't get into that. But yeah, I was a little confused on the spread, or just the 1.5 portion. I thought it'd be a little bit more either way, but uh,
Mhm.
anyway.
So you're on the road, so.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. All right. Well, that is our predictions here for Sunday afternoon Panthers Jets. Marvin Powell III, as I said, has been my guest today here on Inside the Vault. Marvin, where can people find you on social media or other platforms, and tell the folks what you're doing?
Yeah, so Marvin Powell III on Facebook, Marvin on the mic, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. You can catch me on Locked On USC on Mondays and Fridays. You can catch me with USCJ at least once, twice a week. You can catch me with the South Florida Tribune on Tuesday night, Wednesday mornings, and Wednesday evenings. And hopefully, you can catch me back here with Ryan when he calls me back for another show.
Awesome. Well, Marvin, so good to have you on here on Inside the Vault, preview little Panther Jets on Sunday afternoon. We'll talk to you down the road. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks. Thank you, Ryan.
And that'll wrap up episode number 89 of Inside the Vault, a Carolina Panthers podcast. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And we will see you next time.